महानटसमारम्भां भरताचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां प्रेक्षकाणां प्रमोदाय प्रीतये परमात्मनः कुर्मस्वचित्तशुद्ध्यर्थं चिद्रसाभिनयं वयम्. Namaste everyone. Let us start off with understanding the prayers. These are the prayers which we have been reciting every class. The first one is called the Guru Parampara's shloka of Natya Shastra. So the origin of the Natya, like all of us know, it's in Nataraja or Mahanata. Mahanata is the other word used for Nataraja. Mahanata Samarambham. The tradition, the Natya tradition, the dance tradition, the theatre tradition, the primordial deity is Shiva. It started off with him, Mahanata Samarambham, Bharatacharya Madhyamam. Bharata is an acharya, a teacher, who is a linking thing from Mahanata until us. Bharatacharya Madhyamam, Asmadacharya Paryantam. Whatever started off with Shiva, it was continued by Bharata and it has come down until my teacher. There has been an unbroken chain of gurus, an unbroken lineage of acharyas. It's not just to my guru that I am saluting, but to his guru, to his guru, to his guru. And similarly, if you trace on, it will go until Bharata. And then it will go on back to Shiva. So to the entire Guru Parampara, my salutations. Vande Guru Paramparam. That's the first Guru Parampara shloka. The second one addresses the purpose of dance, purpose of any art form in general, and dance in particular, Nritya in particular. Prekshakanam Pramodaya is the first purpose. Pritaye Paramatmanaha is the second one. Kurmas Swachitta Shuddhyartham is the third one. Chidrasabhinayam Vayam. We are doing dance to satisfy, to fulfill these three purposes. Firstly, very obviously, Prekshakanam Pramodaya. When we do a performance of dance or music or whatever it is, there would be several people in the audience. Why have they come here after all? To get joy, to feel happy, to get relieved from stress. You might remember the first Swadhyaya video where we had mentioned the very purpose of creation of any art form. The Natya was created because all the people went together to Brahma asking for him to give them something to play with, something that will make them happy. So happiness is what the audience have come for, right? So that's a very beautiful feeling for an artist. You are passing on the happiness that you have within yourself to them. Prekshakanam Pramodaya. Prekshaka is the audience, one who sees. Pramoda means to feel happy. Prekshakanam Pramodaya. And secondly, if you believe in an almighty, a higher entity, Pritaye Paramatmanaha. We artists, as dancers, we are performing dance or we are performing a music concert to gain the love of the God, of the deity, or to express our love to him in a sense. So it has two kinds of meanings. Pritaye Paramatmanaha, to gain his love or to express our love to him. We'll certainly need to be grateful because we have got a very good body. We have got, we are not handicapped, we are not blind, we are not deaf, etc. We have been blessed with so many positive parameters. So we'll have to thank for whoever has given us so much. So Paramatmanaha here may refer to an almighty God, or it can even refer to your parents who have given you this body and who have given you the opportunity to pick up dance and to practice dance. Pritaye Paramatmanaha. The third one, the third purpose is Kurmas Swachitta Shuddhyartham. We are performing dance or we are performing any form of art for our own internal cleansing. Like we would have heard multiple times, an art form can actually remove the bad kinds of emotions, the bad shades of emotions which we have, if we are introspective after having performed. Say you perform the character of Sita, or you perform the character of Draupadi, or of Durga, or of Rama, or of Hanuman, etc. If you actually try to imbibe the values that they have shown through the Puranic stories, then it can certainly make you a better human being. It can cleanse your mental framework. Kurmas Swachitta Shuddhyartham Chidrasabhinayam Vayam. That last line actually defines what dance is or any art form is. Chit Rasa, the eternal happiness that is within us. within the artist, we are expressing it to the audience through different forms. It could be the Angika Abhinaya, it could be the Vachika Abhinaya, it could be through the body, it could be through words, it could be through music, or it could be through colors, which makes it painting. It could be through a stone, which makes it a sculpture. It could be through written words, which make it a poetry. So the internal Ananda that we have, we are expressing it to the world for their pleasure, firstly, and secondly, to gain the blessings or the love of the Almighty, Paramatma, and also for our own internal cleansing, the threefold purpose of art. So that's captured in the second verse. Both of them are composed by me. They were composed because several dancers had requested for it. And we have been using those as the prayers here also in the Upadhyay School of Dance.
So we often hear these terms of Margi and Desi. So we'd like to know what exactly these terms mean, and also what are the classical dance forms that exist today in India.
The two terms Marga and Desha, Margi and Deshi, have been in vogue for several centuries or even a couple of millennia from now. But people these days, especially in the last 70 to 100 years, there's been a lot of misunderstanding regarding these two words, largely because people have stopped going through the original texts, the original Sanskrit texts or the other Indian language texts. So I'll just give the Sanskrit etymology of the two terms to start with, and then I'll try explaining the words. Mrigyate iti margi. Margi is what is realized. Dishyate is iti deshi. Whatever is seen outside. The internal realization you have when you express it out, that is deshi. That's one level of definition. But to give a more common man's kind of an understanding of it, we have several spoken languages, say of Kannada. Throughout Karnataka, we have several different dialects of Kannada. For example, in the Mysore region, you have the old Mysore region, you have one dialect of Kannada. In the North Karnataka region, you have another dialect. In the coastal Karnataka, you have another dialect. And within these regions, there are several sub-dialects. This is how we see it in the world. The world, in the sense, in Karnataka, if you take Karnataka as the world for the time being, Kannada is seen as several different expressions of the same languages present. But then, for a common understanding of people, there's a kind of formalization that is done of the grammar. For instance, the newspaper Kannada that we see, that's a formalized Kannada grammar system. Similarly, even for the English language, if you take the UK, where English originated, you have the London dialect, you have the Yorkshire dialect, and several dialects. You have several different ones. But it is formalized, and with the formalization, everybody in UK can relate to one kind of English. Although in their spoken variety, there will be several different forms, right? Yeah, Kannada also, you have several spoken varieties, but there's one formalized language which is used for the news channels, for newspapers, for the novels that are written, for scientific books that are written. Similarly, the standardized English is written used for the textbooks or the newspapers or any scientific material. Scientific in the sense it could be economics or formalized material in a sense. So there is one kind of formalization, and there is whatever we see as the common man's language that we see. Similarly, if you take the case of music, throughout India or throughout the world, you have so many different kinds of music systems within India. We have the Northern Indian form and the Southern Indian form, which we today call as Hindustani and Carnatic music. And in Carnatic music, you have several different styles, and you have so many folk varieties. But then, when you formally break it down, what is the undercurrent of all these music systems? The Sapta Swaras, the 7 Swaras, are the basis, and the 21 or 22 Shrutis, they are the basis of this. You find these 7 Swaras or the 22 Shrutis expressed in several millions of ways. So, in a formal structure, it is the 7 Swaras, but in their application, they are multiple. So, Marga is the formal structure for anything. Deshi is the application of the Marga. So, for instance, what Bharata gives in the Natya Shastra is a formal system, which he has compiled together from all the existing dance forms, all existing theatre forms, all existing music forms which existed during his time by about 3000 years back. He has had an overview of all the systems which existed, and he has compiled the fundamental set of principles, fundamental set of operational principles through which all these different art forms work. So whatever Bharata has given is, in a sense, the marga for dancers. It's the marga for musicians. It's the marga for theatre artists, because they are the fundamental principles, the underground principles, underlying principles for any other art form. And these underlying principles, the local applications of these underlying principles are the Deshi forms. So one can just relate it to the Kannada example that I started off with. So we have a framework of a language, of a grammar. So that is what the textbooks give us. But that is applied differently in different regions. So that gives several dialects of the Kannada language. Similarly, in the past, like you might be very well aware, Sanskrit was the common language which tied together the entire country of India. That was the common language, that was a formalized language. There were several spoken varieties according to regional tastes. So just as Sanskrit was the undercurrent for every language, even today, see, you can't remove Sanskrit from any of the Indian languages. It's somewhere there as the undercurrent. It's present in every Indian language. But every state, like the Kerala or Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka, Maharashtra, Gujarat or Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, they have given their own flavor to the Sanskrit, as which was the formal tradition. They have given their own regional flavors. So the marga put by Bharata, which is the realization of the eternal principles which dictate all these art forms, or which are roots for all these art forms, he has realized that and documented in the Natya Shastra. And he has obviously given the freedom of expression as per your own spatio-temporal frameworks. Again, what you can see is that no art form stays constant always. With times it changes, with space it changes. So these are the different kinds of Deshi forms. So we have several Deshi forms of art throughout India, starting from Bharatanatyam to Yakshagana, Kuchipudi, Bhagavatamela, and Chow or Manipuri, Mohiniyattam, Kudiyattam, and Kathakali. All these are expressions, regional expressions of different timelines which coexist in India, and they are all offshoots, in a sense, of Bharata's marga. To give an even more simpler example, you might see the several branches of a tree, but when you the marga is the root from which the tree has grown. The tree has its roots in the root, with the physical entity called the root, and these are the different shoots or the branches. So marga is the root, and Deshi are these different branches that you see all around. Yeah. So usually the marga is referred to as classical, and Deshi can be referred to as regional, or it can be also called folk. See, the very word folk actually captures that it is of people's tastes. How people want it, they take it that way. One can just remember the example of a language and of music to quickly relate to it. So the Saptaswaras are basis for every music form. So the Saptaswaras are the marga, and the realization of Saptaswaras in different ways, they become the Deshi. Similarly, the grammar is one, but it is used in different ways in different regions, say of English or of Kannada or of Tamil or Malayalam or whatever. All these dialects come. So the Sanskrit is kind of the marga, and different dialects of Sanskrit exist. Bharata's is the marga, different dialects of Bharata's marga are the different Deshi forms. So today, the Sangeeta Nataka Academy, they identify 8 classical dance forms of India, which are again the regional applications of the Natya Shastra tradition. The first one is the Bharatanatyam, which we today call the Bharatanatyam, which was originally called Sadiratam or Dasiyatam or Sadir Dasiyatam of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. That's the first one, Bharatanatyam of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Kuchipudi of Andhra Pradesh. Odissi of Orissa, it is today called Odisha. Manipuri of Manipur. Mohiniyattam and Kathakali of Kerala. Satriya or Hotriya of Assam. Kathak of North India. In several North Indian states, the dance form called Kathak is practiced and followed. Let me list it again. Bharatanatyam of Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, uh, Manipuri of Manipur, Odissi of Orissa, Hotriya of Assam, Kathak of North India, Kuchipudi of Andhra Pradesh, Mohiniyattam and Kathakali of Kerala. So these are the 8 recognized classical dance forms of India today. But there are millions of other dance forms throughout India, all of which are beautiful. Just because they don't get the classical status, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are not beautiful or there are some things which shouldn't be practiced. Each one is beautiful in its own right, and it again depends on the tastes of the audience, how they want to practice it and how they want to present it, etc.
Okay, so from what I understand of what you said, Margi is a set of techniques that Bharata gave us, and according to regional tastes, it became Desi according to whichever place they went. So, is there really an art form that completely sticks to the Natya Shastra and is called a Margi dance form?
That's a very interesting question that you asked. One thing is quite evident and obvious. Things have changed largely from the times of Bharata, starting from the manner in which theatres or auditoriums are designed, the scenery elements, the sets that people use, the costumes that people use, and more importantly, the languages which people speak. Back then, you did not have like the languages of the world today or of India today. You didn't have Kannada in this form back then. You didn't have Tamil in what is today's Tamil. So languages have changed, and the music system has changed from where Bharata left it. There's been a lot of improvement in the music system also. So one cannot say that nobody can claim saying that they are practicing the Margi exactly ditto as it was done by Bharata, because it would be taking us back in time if we do that. See, there have been attempts at reconstructing the movement vocabulary of the Natya Shastra, which was lost due to several different reasons, due to several socio-political reasons. The Anga, Upanga, Vyayama and the Vedas of the Angas and the Upangas, the bodily Angikabhinaya elements. Angikabhinaya, like you very well know, refers to the movement of the different parts of the body. And the charis and the nrittahastas. The charis are the movements below the waist of the body, and nrittahastas are the movements above the waist in the body, and a combination of the chari and the nrittahasta, which is the karana. So all these were lost in the movement vocabulary due to socio-political reasons in the last 300 or 400 years. So that has been reconstructed. But so one can say by Dr. Padma Subramaniam, a stalwart Padma Bhushan Dr. Padma Subramaniam, a very thorough study of the Natya Shastra, the commentary on the Natya Shastra, which is by Abhinav Gupta, and the temple sculptures, and she also extracted the movements from the existing dance forms throughout India. It could be Chow, it could be Kudiyattam, it could be Kuchipudi, it could be what was called the Sadir Dasiyattam, which is today called the Bharatanatyam. From all of them, she took traces and she reconstructed what Bharata could have conceived as the Marga, or the fundamental set of movements for all Deshi forms, for all different regional applications. So that is one element, that's the Angika element only, the Marga of the Angika, which she has reconstructed. So to give a specific answer to your question, there can be nothing which is 100% Marga as per Bharata's Natya Shastra, because times have changed and the Natya Shastra has spread throughout the world. Therefore, there can be nothing which is strictly Marga. Everything is Deshi.
Namaste. Welcome to today's music class of Antarshala.
Namaskaram to everybody. We shall begin today's class by singing the bass notes or the Prakriti Swara that are Shadja Panchama. Please repeat after me. sa
sa
pa
pa
sa
sa
pa
pa
sa pa sa In my previous sessions, we had learned the Sarale Varse. Now, today in my session, we will be learning the Janti Varse or the Janta Varse. You can call any of the two. Now, moving on to Janti Varse, it is used in a form of ornamentation that are called as Puritam, where a single note is sung twice, like sa, sa, ri, ri, ga, ga, ma, ma. So here, the first note will be sung in a plain manner, and the second note will be sung giving little weightage. I will demonstrate and show it to you so that it will be easier for you to understand. The first note, listen to the first note. Sa. The second note, I am stressing on the same sa, giving more of a weightage. Sa, sa, ri, ri, ga, ga, ma, ma. So this is how we differentiate a Sarale Varse to a Janti Varse. The major difference between the Sarale Varse and the Janti Varse is the way you put the tala. In Sarale Varse, we used to put Chaturasha Jati Triputa tala in Madhyama Kala. Madhyama Kala is single kale. Single kale means when you put the tala once. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whereas in the Janti Varse, we will use the same Chaturasha Jati Triputa tala or the Adi tala by putting twice. Can I show you? Will you repeat after me? Vitra? 1, 1.
1
Very good. 2, 2.
2 2
3, 3.
3 3
4, 4.
4 4
5, 5.
5 5
6, 6.
6 6
7, 7.
7 7
8, 8. Very good. So, this kind of tala is called as Vilamba Kala Adi Tala or the Chaturasha Jati Triputa Tala. So, we also call it as Randakale, that is 2 times. The reason behind why we call it as Janti means combination of 2, just like twins. So, these are the basic theory for us to start the Janti Varse. So, let's start the very first Janti Varse. Will you be able to repeat?
Okay.
Sa, sa, ri, ri, ga, ga, ma, ma.
Sa sa re re ga ga ma ma.
Good. Pa, pa, da, da, ni, ni, sa, sa.
Pa pa da da ni ni sa sa.
Sa, sa, ni, ni, da, da, pa, pa.
Sa sa ni ni da da pa pa.
Ma, ma, ga, ga, ri, ri, sa, sa.
Ma ma ga ga re re sa sa.
Very good. So this was the first speed where you sing one note for one beat. So sa, sa, re, re. I am singing one note for one particular beat. Now let's move on to the second speed in Janti Vasi. Sa, sa, ri, ri, ga, ga, ma, ma.
Sa sa re re ga ga ma ma.
Pa, pa, da, da, ni, ni, sa, sa.
Pa pa da da ni ni sa sa.
Sa, sa, ni, ni, da, da, pa, pa.
Sa sa ni ni da da pa pa.
Ma, ma, ga, ga, ri, ri, sa, sa.
Ma ma ga ga re re sa sa.
Very good. So this was the second speed. Now let's move on to the third speed. The third speed is when you sing 4 notes for one particular beat. Okay? As and when Vitrag is singing, you can also sing along with him. Don't sing with me. I will sing first and you all can sing with Vitrag. Third speed. Sa, sa, ri, ri, ga, ga, ma, ma, pa, pa, da, da, ni, ni, sa, sa.
Sa sa re re ga ga ma ma pa pa da da ni ni sa sa.
Sa, sa, ni, ni, da, da, pa, pa, ma, ma, ga, ga, ri, ri, sa, sa.
Sa sa ni ni da da pa pa ma ma ga ga re re sa sa.
Sa, sa, ri, ri, ga, ga, ma, ma, pa, pa, da, da, ni, ni, sa, sa.
Sa sa re re ga ga ma ma pa pa da da ni ni sa sa.
Sa, sa, ni, ni, da, da, pa, pa, ma, ma, ga, ga, ri, ri, sa, sa.
Sa sa ni ni da da pa pa ma ma ga ga re re sa sa.
Please be very careful when you choose the speed. The very first speed when you start singing, let it be little slower so that it will not be difficult for you to render the third speed. And this Janti Verse will be like a warm up to your voice. You can also sing this in different ways. For example, the swaram as I taught you earlier. Now you can sing the same Janti Verse in akara or the ikara, ukara, okara. That is when your voice will be warmed up. I'll just show you an example. You can practice while you are singing the Janti Verse. Assume the first speed. Sa, sa, ri, ri, ga, ga, ma, ma, second speed. Third speed you will have to be very careful because sa, sa, ri, ri, ga, ga, ma, ma, all those notes should be sung properly in the different format. So please be very careful while you start the first speed. The slower you take, it's going to be better when you sing the third speed. Now, shall we move on to the second Janti Verse, Vitra? Very good. Sa, sa, ri, ri, ga, ga, ma, ma.
Sa sa re re ga ga ma ma.
Ri, ri, ga, ga, ma, ma, pa, pa.
Re re ga ga ma ma pa pa.
Very good. Before we move further, I would just want to tell you one small introduction as to how this particular Janti Verse is formatted. Assume there are stairs. When you go from ground floor to the first floor, you will climb the stairs, right? So assume there are 4 stairs. Stair number 1, stair number 2, 3, 4. So you will go 1, 2, 3, 4, and to start the second line, you will come back to the second stair. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 5, 6, 7, 8. So when you reach the 8th note, that is the higher sa or the tara shadja, you will come back the same way in descending order. That is, you will get down from the stairs. So the same format will be applicable for the whole Janti Vase. Shall we start from the beginning, Vitra?
Okay,
I am extremely sorry for the interruption.
no problem.
Sa sa ri ri ga ga ma ma.
Sa sa re re ga ga ma ma.
Very good. Re re ga ga ma ma pa pa.
Re re ga ga ma ma pa pa.
Ga ga ma ma pa pa da da.
Ga ga ma ma pa pa da da.
Ma ma pa pa da da ni ni.
Ma ma pa pa da da ni ni.
Beautiful. Pa pa da da ni ni sa sa.
Pa pa da da ni ni sa sa.
Sa sa ni ni da da pa pa.
Sa sa ni ni da da pa pa.
Ni ni da da pa pa ma ma.
Ni ni da da pa pa ma ma.
Da da pa pa ma ma ga ga.
Da da pa pa ma ma ga ga.
Pa pa ma ma ga ga ri ri.
Pa pa ma ma ga ga re re.
Ma ma ga ga ri ri sa sa.
Ma ma ga ga re re sa sa.
Very, very good. Let's move on to the second speed. Sa sa ri ri ga ga ma ma.
Sa sa re re ga ga ma ma.
Ri ri ga ga ma ma pa pa.
Re re ga ga ma ma pa pa.
Ga ga ma ma pa pa da da.
Ga ga ma ma pa pa da da.
Ma ma pa pa da da ni ni.
Ma ma pa pa da da ni ni.
Pa pa da da ni ni sa sa.
Pa pa da da ni ni sa sa.
Sa sa ni ni da da pa pa.
Sa sa ni ni da da pa pa.
Ni ni da da pa pa ma ma.
Ni ni da da pa pa ma ma.
Da da pa pa ma ma ga ga.
Da da pa pa ma ma ga ga.
Pa pa ma ma ga ga ri ri.
Pa pa ma ma ga ga re re.
Ma ma ga ga ri ri sa sa.
Ma ma ga ga re re sa sa.
Please don't get confused that the Janti Verse has finished in the half avartana. No, second speed we have to sing it twice so that it ends in the tala. Okay, so the second time it will start from the drutam. Shall we start? Sa sa ri ri ga ga ma ma.
Sa sa re re ga ga ma ma.
Ri ri ga ga ma ma pa pa.
Re re ga ga ma ma pa pa.
Ga ga ma ma pa pa da da.
Ga ga ma ma pa pa da da.
Ma ma pa pa da da ni ni.
Ma ma pa pa da da ni ni.
Pa pa da da ni ni sa sa.
Pa pa da da ni ni sa sa.
Sa sa ni ni da da pa pa.
Sa sa ni ni da da pa pa.
Ni ni da da pa pa ma ma.
Ni ni da da pa pa ma ma.
Da da pa pa ma ma ga ga.
Da da pa pa ma ma ga ga.
Pa pa ma ma ga ga ri ri.
Pa pa ma ma ga ga re re.
Ma ma ga ga ri ri sa sa.
Ma ma ga ga re re sa sa.
So this was the second speed where you will have to sing twice in order to end in the complete tala. Now let's move on to third speed. Please observe, third speed we will have to sing 4 times. Only this particular Janti Verse we will have to sing 4 times in order to complete the tala. Shall we sing? Sa sa ri ri ga ga ma ma.
Sa sa re re ga ga ma ma.
Ri ri ga ga ma ma pa pa.
Re re ga ga ma ma pa pa.
Ga ga ma ma pa pa da da.
Ga ga ma ma pa pa da da.
Ma ma pa pa da da ni ni.
Ma ma pa pa da da ni ni.
Pa pa da da ni ni sa sa.
Pa pa da da ni ni sa sa.
Sa sa ni ni da da pa pa.
Sa sa ni ni da da pa pa.
Ni ni da da pa pa ma ma.
Ni ni da da pa pa ma ma.
Da da pa pa ma ma ga ga.
Da da pa pa ma ma ga ga.
Pa pa ma ma ga ga ri ri.
Pa pa ma ma ga ga re re.
Ma ma ga ga ri ri sa sa.
Ma ma ga ga re re sa sa.
The first time it will end in your little finger. So we will have to start the second time from your ring finger. Sa sa ri ri ga ga ma ma. Ri ri ga ga ma ma pa pa.
Sa sa re re ga ga ma ma re re ga ga ma ma pa pa.
Very good. Ga ga ma ma pa pa da da. Ma ma pa pa da da ni ni.
Ga ga ma ma pa pa da da. Ma ma pa pa da da ni ni.
Pa pa da da ni ni sa sa. Sa sa ni ni da da pa pa.
Pa pa da da ni ni sa sa. Sa sa ni ni da da pa pa.
Ni ni da da pa pa ma ma da da pa pa ma ma ga ga.
Ni ni da da pa pa ma ma da da pa pa ma ma ga ga.
Pa pa ma ma ga ga ri ri. Ma ma ga ga ri ri sa sa.
Pa pa ma ma ga ga re re. Ma ma ga ga re re sa sa.
Please note the second time ends in your middle finger. So you will have to start the third time from your dhritam. So second time ends with laghu. The third time sa sa ri ri ga ga ma ma ri ri ga ga ma ma pa pa.
Sa sa re re ga ga ma ma re re ga ga ma ma pa pa.
Ga ga ma ma pa pa da da ma ma pa pa da da ni ni.
Ga ga ma ma pa pa da da. Ma ma pa pa da da ni
Very
ni.
good. Pa pa da da ni ni sa sa ni ni da da pa pa.
Pa pa da da ni ni sa sa ni ni da da pa pa.
Ni ni da da pa pa ma ma da da pa pa ma ma ga ga.
Ni ni da da pa pa ma ma da da pa pa ma ma ga ga.
Pa pa ma ma ga ga ri ri ma ma ga ga ri ri sa sa.
Pa pa ma ma ga ga ri ri ma ma ga ga ri ri sa sa.
The second Janti verse has not yet ended. We'll have to sing for the fourth time, and it starts with the second dhritam of this particular tala. Sa sa ri ri ga ga ma ma ri ri ga ga ma ma pa pa.
Sa sa re re ga ga ma ma re re ga ga ma ma pa pa.
Ga ga ma ma pa pa da da ma ma pa pa da da ni ni.
Ga ga ma ma pa pa da da ma ma pa pa da da ni ni.
Pa pa da da ni ni sa sa ni ni da da pa pa.
Pa pa da da ni ni sa sa ni ni da da pa pa.
Ni ni da da pa pa ma ma da da pa pa ma ma ga ga.
Ni ni da da pa pa ma ma da da pa pa ma ma ga ga.
Pa pa ma ma ga ga ri ri ma ma ga ga ri ri sa sa.
Pa pa ma ma ga ga re re ma ma ga ga re re sa sa.
Very good. This is when you end the second Janti verse after you sing the third speed 4 times. So I will sing the first Janti verse and the second Janti verse in all the 3 speeds. Please sing along with me. Sa sa re ga ga ma ma pa pa da da ni ni sa 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 ni ni da da pa pa ma ma ga ga re sa 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 re ga ga ma ma pa pa da da ni ni sa 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 ni ni da da pa pa ma ma ga ga re sa 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 re ga ga ma ma pa pa da da ni ni sa sa ni ni da da pa pa ma ma ga ga re sa re ga ga ma ma pa pa da da ni ni sa ni ni da da pa pa ma ma ga ga re sa. Now let's sing the second Janti verse in all the 3 speeds. Sa sa re ga ga ma ma re ga ga ma ma pa pa ga ga ma ma pa pa da da ma ma pa pa da da ni ni pa pa da da ni ni sa 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 ni ni da da pa pa ni ni da da pa pa ma ma da da ga ga ma ma re re ga ga ma ma pa pa ga ga ma ma pa pa da da ma ma pa pa da da ni ni pa pa da da ni ni sa 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 ni ni da da pa pa ni ni da da pa pa ma ma da da pa pa ma ma ga ga pa pa ma ma ga ga re re ma ma ga ga re re sa 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 re re ga ga ma ma re re ga ga ma ma pa pa ga ga ma ma pa pa da da ma ma pa pa da da ni ni pa pa da da ni ni sa 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 ni ni da da pa pa ni ni da da pa pa ma ma da da pa pa ma ma ga ga pa pa ma ma ga ga re re ma ma ga ga re re sa 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 re re ga ga ma ma re re ga ga ma ma pa pa ga ga ma ma pa pa ga ga ma ma pa pa da da ni ni pa pa da da ni ni sa 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 ni ni da da pa pa ni ni da da pa pa ma ma da da pa pa ma ma ga ga pa pa ma ma ga ga re re ma ma ga ga re re sa 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 re re ga ga ma ma re re ga ga ma ma pa pa ga ga ma ma pa pa da da ma ma pa pa da da ni ni pa pa da da ni ni sa 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 ni ni da da pa pa ni ni da da pa pa ma ma da da pa pa ma ma ga ga pa pa ma ma ga ga re re ma ma ga ga re re sa 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 re re ga ga ma ma re re ga ga ma ma pa pa ga ga ma ma pa pa da da ma ma pa pa da da ni ni pa pa da da ni ni sa 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 ni ni da da pa pa ni ni da da pa pa ma ma da da pa pa ma ma ga ga pa pa ma ma ga ga re re ma ma ga ga re re sa 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 re re ga ga ma ma re re ga ga ma ma pa pa ga ga ma ma pa pa da da ma ma pa pa da da ni ni pa pa da da ni ni sa 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 ni ni da da pa pa ni ni da da pa pa ma ma da da pa pa ma ma ga ga pa pa ma ma ga ga re re ma ma ga ga re re sa sa. An important instruction to everybody: please have control over your breath. Whenever you're singing, be it whatever, Sarale Verse, Janti Verse, Geetam, Kirtane or Varnam or any film song also, you should have control over your breath. You can't take breath whenever and wherever you want, because it will split at the wrong place and it will sound different. For example, just see sa sa re re ga ga ma. So whenever you're taking breath at the wrong place, it will be off pitch or off tune. So you need to make sure whenever and wherever you have a small gap, that point you need to take your breath. So you need to analyze as to how much breath control you have, and then you can proceed. Make sure you do pranayama properly so that you will have control over your breath. While singing, please don't breathe through your nose, because it will create a different sound while you breathe through nose, and it is difficult to understand whatever you are singing. So wherever small gap you get, you please breathe through your mouth. For example, I'll sing the third step. sa sa ri ri ga ga ma ma pa pa da da ni ni sa sa. I'm taking a minute breath so that I can finish the second half of the Janti verse. Sa sa ri ri ga ga ma ma pa pa da da ni ni sa sa ni ni da da pa pa ma ma ga ga ri ni sa sa. It should be brisk and very fast so that it will not lose the tempo. You will not lose the tempo. So make sure the breath is very fast and brisk so that your tempo will not be lost. So please breathe through your mouth and not through your nose while singing the faster songs or the faster speed, basic Swadhyaya verse or Janti verse, whatever.
Let us practice these two Janti verses. Next class, Rohit Anna will teach us more. Thank you. Namaste.